Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Ben Colson is the name of the channel. It's just this guy on the left, to be honest. The guy on the right is the orange balloon Donald Trump, that we all know and love, obviously. Mysterious TikToks no one has answers for. So, I just seen this again. I often just watch his videos. A few channels I watch that just puts compilations together, to be honest. Um, yeah, the Donald Trump here talking about aliens yet again here. The alien disclosure coming soon, as we all know. Don't shoot your bolt before the film, Donald. Don't shoot your bolt before the film. There is a film called Disclosure coming out in the summer there. Don't shoot your bolt before it. You need the propaganda here. Don't shoot your bolt, Donald. So, yeah, talking about aliens. So we've got a few things actually. Got this, and then we've got like all these people going missing as well. Whether that links into this, I don't know, but I have a feeling it somehow does link into this disclosure in some way. I don't know, but I can't link it to anything else much, to be honest. So there's that. All these people going missing. And we're just going to have a look at Revelation, the end of the Bible here, from sort of Satan's little season sort of area, last page of the Bible, the last page of the book, the end of the story. Yeah, we're just going to I'll read that as well at the end, I think. So let's listen to Donald here and his alien banter.
Remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And I figured this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am, but so I'm pleased to report today. I thought I'd save it for this crowd because you're a little bit out there, you know, a little bit. That this process is well underway, and we found many very interesting documents, I must say. And the first releases will begin very, very soon. So you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. You'll figure it out. Let me know. Let me know. But we've had a lot of questions. It's something that really captivates the mind. There's no question.
Let me know the outcome. Mate, I would be asking that question from day one. The day I get, imagine me as president, that would be a bad day. The president.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if Ben here knows the plan and the agendas here, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, listen to that. Honest to God, listen to that. I mean, talk about. I don't know the exact word what I'm looking for, but absolutely like leading you down the garden path here. But the guy's right. Ben here is correct. Like you'd know full well, being the president, what the crack is with the fucking alien situation here. You would imagine it'd be one of the first things you'd fucking ask, wouldn't he? This is his second term, so I mean, we had Obama there the other week saying similar things. So, well, we've this is like predicting World War III 6 months in advance. We've predicted fucking disclosure fucking 6 to 12 months in advance here as well. So we know what's going on here. To be honest, we absolutely know what's going on. So yeah, the alien lie is upon us here again. The reason I'm going to read a revelation at the end here is because it all kind of connects into that. So we'll just hear Donald here again. Don't shoot your bolt, Donald, before the propaganda in the summer there. Steven Spielberg's effort. Don't waste Steven Spielberg's effort, Donald.
What is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And I figured this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am, but so I'm pleased to report today. I thought I'd save it for this crowd because you're a little bit out there, you know, a little bit. That this process is well underway, and we found many very interesting documents, I must say. And the first releases will begin very, very soon. So you can.
The releases will begin very, very soon. So, as we said quite a while ago there, Donald Trump will be the man who discloses the aliens either this year or next year. It's looking like this year, to be honest. Again, it's going to be one hell of a year, isn't it? You know what I mean? One hell of a year. The 2026, the year that went down in literal fucking history here. So, yeah, it's coming. It's definitely coming. Again, you've heard it from the horse's mouth. These people are going to tell you that aliens are real. They are not. So don't be falling for this lie. This is the big deception. You know what I mean? The grand deception. I think there's a documentary called The Age of Deception that's been on YouTube at least fucking 20 years. And that tells you that the alien, the alien lie. You know what I mean? It's been a long feathered lie. This it really has, going back to Roswell, etc. So they've planted this lie a long time ago. They really have, and they've spent a lot of time planting this lie. So the majority of people will fall for it. They really, really will. I know they will. And again, you can hear people cheering in the background here. Again, the general public are fucking stupid, to be honest. COVID proved that. So yeah, the majority of people are going to fall for this, and where it's going is into the final pages of Revelation here. That's where the alien lie is going, which we'll talk about at the end there. But yeah, that's where it's going. The alien lie. It's going to the end of the Bible and Revelation. I'll show you where and why and when at the end. So we're just on Minutes of Horror here. Another channel sort of puts stuff together, etc. All these missing people, which again I'm linking it to the whole disclosure thing. And these people maybe knew it was all bollocks, and that they've been took out for some reason. I don't know, but there's a lot of them missing now, and like a lot. I mean, listen to this.
Media say there's about 10 or 11 scientists that have either mysteriously vanished or are deceased. I do believe the count happens to be higher at around 13 or 14 because news and media never showed these three: Jacob Pritchard, Jamie Pritchard, and First Lieutenant Jamie Gustitis. All three were scientists at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the same exact Air Force Base that the missing General William McCaslin was once overseeing. Well, back on October 25th, 2025, it is said that Jacob Pritchard took out his wife Jamie Pritchard and their lieutenant Jamie Gustitis with a gun. Authorities still have no explanation as to why. The only theory coming from the public is that an affair was going on, but these three are never included with these other scientists, which is kind of odd given the fact of the timing and the location of where they worked. These three would have definitely known something as well. Jamie Pritchard, for example, was a finance specialist at Wright-Patterson's Air Force Life Cycle Management Center, meaning she had some kind of financial visibility into what programs were being built and at what cost. Gustitis was an operations research analyst at the Human Performance Wing, specializing in quantitative modeling, working in a top secret capacity. Then you have Jacob Pritchard, who was an acquisition project manager for the Census Directorate, the directorate that develops classified surveillance and reconnaissance technology. All three taken out in one night across 3 different counties, no motives given as of yet, and again quickly swept under the rug. You'll hardly...
Yeah, so again, all three taken out on the same night in different counties, and all swept under the rug. 13 or 14 people missing, all to do with sort of the military and top secret stuff. It's very suspicious. It's absolutely very suspicious. Again, I'm just struggling to link it to anything but the disclosure crack, really. Again, it might not be that at all. There could be something I'm not thinking of, but it is very suspicious, all these people going dead or missing, and again, where they worked and who they are, and that there alone, all 3 of them taken out on the same night in 3 different counties, and then just brushed under the rug, you know what I mean? So there's definitely something going on here, definitely, but I haven't put my finger on what it is, but there's something that the spider sense is away again here. It's away again. So we'll move on to the Bible here, King James Version, the only version you should be reading here, the King James Version of the Bible. Revelation 20 is where we are here, Revelation 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold of the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So this has already happened, is what we're saying, right? The 1,000 years of the millennium reign of Christ has already happened. So we've passed this point in the Bible tale here, you know what I mean? This point has finished. So, and they cast him in the bottomless pit. This is underneath the Rupes Negra in the North Pole there. and shut him up, and set his seal upon him that he would not deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and then after that he must be loosened a little season. Right, that's where me and a lot of people think we are here, the little season, Revelation 23. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. Right, this isn't now. This is telling you about people being like resurrected, the saints here, etc. Look, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. So the saints and the people who lost their head and beheaded there, look, the beheaded of the witnesses of Jesus. These people were all resurrected as the saints that are depicted in all the pictures with the halos, the yellow circles. And they went round the world, and people went to them, and they built half the cathedrals, etc., and helped build them. And yeah, this has already happened. All this here, Christ reigned with Christ for 1,000 years, so he built all the buildings. Terra del Leso, all this kind of crack, the North Pole, it all frosted over when Satan was released. So, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. So this is the first resurrection. So the second resurrection is coming to us. If you pass the test here, we are about to possibly face the second resurrection, which we'll get to in a moment. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. They shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him for 1,000 years. So that's the saints right there. They reigned for 1,000 years with Jesus Christ on the earth. There's some tales of what happened to some of them. Some of them got beheaded, etc. The only way you could kill them, to be honest, was to behead them. This goes into the new film that's coming out called Highlander. These people had to be beheaded. There could only be one. It's kind of along them lines, weirdly, that they had to be beheaded. The only way they could be killed is I'll maybe make a video on some of the tales of that. Very interesting indeed. So, and when the 1,000 years expired, Satan shall be loosened out of his prison. Right? This was about 500 years ago. This happened, right? 500 years ago, this happened. We've been in Satan's little season, mentioned back up there somewhere. We've been in this little season for quite a while now. We're in fact at the end of Satan's little season here. And he shall go out and deceive the nations, of which the 4 quarters of the earth, that's happening and happened. He has deceived the nations, that's why nobody knows what's going on. Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as sands of the sea. So this is the people being deceived. This is where the aliens comes in for me. We're going to have a third world war. We're going to erect a world government and a world economy and a one world religion there. And once we have the world government, we are needing to go and battle the aliens, basically. And the world government will take us to battle the aliens in the north, which is ultimately we'll explain what it is in a moment here. So they shall go out and deceive the nations. The nations are deceived as we speak. The battle of Gog and Magog, which is about to happen. The sands of the sea, the number, as you go north. They went up to the breadth of the earth. Well, that's north, to the breadth of the earth. And compassed the camp of the saints. The camp of the saints is in the north here, in the North Pole, the Rubes Negra, the real Jerusalem, the New Jerusalem. It's all up there in the north, but the ice is currently keeping us away with it. The ice could be melting, and this could be exposing the area for people to get there in the future. So, Camp of the Saints, surround the Camp of the Saints. Oh, yeah, like the surround the Camp of the Saints and attack the Camp of the Saints. So, the other option is, as well, so the two options are pre-tribulation or post-tribulation. Post-tribulation being Satan's little season. Pre-tribulation means that Jesus is going to return in the near future, and that's what the majority of people believe. So that's why I think it's wrong as well, you know what I mean? The fact that the majority of people believe that, well, everyone's deceived here, you know what I mean? So I mentioned this before, how can everyone be right but be wrong? So another thing is, like the song Bye Bye Miss American Pie. well, bye bye American Pie, like America, bye bye America. So, um, yeah, the song though, bye bye Miss American Pie, this will be the day that I die. The day the music died, sorry, and the voice of harpers and musicians and pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman or whatever craft he can be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. But there we have musicians and trumpeters, and basically shall be heard no more at all. So the day the music died is Revelation 18:22. So again, a lot of people think we're pre-tribulation here, possibly even Don McLean there, who wrote American Pie. But American Pie, as I've mentioned, is pertaining to Revelation 18:22, and the voice of harpers, musicians, and pipers, and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, the day the music died. So that's kind of what the song "Bye Bye Miss American Pie" is about. It's about Revelation 18:22. But yet again, the kind of thing that we're pre-tribulation here is the basis of that song. And again, everyone's kind of been deceived into thinking we're pre-tribulation, but we're not. We are in Satan's little season. So, 1822 is all the stuff that's already passed. Do you know what I mean? We are here, like, we're past this, bound for 1,000 years. So, yeah, we'll just go down a bit here. Deceive the nations. Gather together the battle, the number of whom is the sands of the sea, and they went up to the breadth of the earth, which is the north, and compassed the camp of the saints and the beloved city, and fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. So the crack kind of is, or the way I'm seeing it, the pull and the alien lie on us. So we all eventually go and attack the aliens in the north, but it's not the aliens, it's the lie. And you're going to attack the camp of the saints, and upon attacking the camp of the saints, unfortunately for many there, that is the end of the world, like the literal end of this world. And then we all appear for the white throne judgment. We're judged, every single one of us, in the same way in front of God in the white throne judgment. And should you have passed the test and you are not one of the aforementioned people, hold on, the second death as well. There's no coming back from the second death. Bear with me. There's a list of people who are not fucking coming here. I can just find it down here somewhere. It's all about the foundations of the new place. This is well in here somewhere. It's maybe on the next page. It's about adulterers, murderers, all these kind of things. Basically, them people are not coming. Is it down here somewhere? There we go. Throughout our dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and adulterers and whatsoever loveth and maketh a lie. So these people are not coming, basically. Murderers, adulterers, whoremongers, sorcerers, magicians, you fucking Satanists. Yeah, they're not coming, because this is kind of a test in a way, and if we let all the arseholes come into the next place, then the next place will go to shit exactly like this place did, won't it? So, this is a test, ultimately. If you can pass the test, you get to play in, if you wanted to read this, you get to play in a lovely world here, made of fucking gold and jasper and fucking all sorts, to be honest. So... yeah, that's kind of the crack, I think. We're in Satan's little season. We're not pre-tribulation. We're Satan's little season, and the alien lie is ultimately to get us to go north to attack the camp of the saints. Eventually, is what I'm kind of seeing. And as I said, Revelation 18:22, the day the music died. That's what. The song "Bye Bye Miss American Pie" is about. But I just think another one of these people who's been deceived into believing we're pre-tribulation here and not post-tribulation. I mean, time will tell. That's the beauty of this. It's the beauty of whenever I talk to people about this conversation in general, about God, about heaven, about the afterlife, about the future. We definitely get to watch all this in the next couple of years. You know what I mean? We're all going to find the answer out. Like, that's the beauty of it. Like, this isn't an open-ended question. The answer to this question is coming very, very, very soon. To be honest, very soon indeed. So yeah, that's the Bible, the most famous book in the entire world. There. So sit where you want. Obviously, you've three options. You can be an atheist. You can be a pre-tribulationist or a post-tribulationist. Really, they're kind of your three options here. Sit where you want. But you are getting told aliens are real this year by Donald Trump. And it's a lie. It is a lie, guarantee you. But anyway, there, peace. Just trying to stop you being deceived here, you know what I mean? Just sort of mention down here about all the people who are deceived, etc. Again, the test here. Just trying to help you out. Well, there, peace. I'll just mention this on the end. Dutch Peasant Productions is the name of the channel. Breaking: the Holy Reign of the Saints was eliminated. It was in the news in 1845. Breaking. So I'll play a little bit on it.
News in 1845. Do you want to see the actual proof that the saints existed on earth? Do you want to see the proof that the saints reigned on earth? Do you want to see the proof that the saints were deposed, captured, convicted, and put to death? Of course you want to see the proof. So let's go into it.
So, I'm sorry, I'll just go back a minute here. Yeah, what I'm learning here is through documentation in history. Not in this particular video, there's another video as well of somebody going through some of the stuff. And yeah, the saints, at the end of the Millennium Reign, or during the Millennium, but nearer the end, some of them were captured by the enemy, so to speak. People who weren't believers, didn't want to follow the way of Christ, which is foolish, to be honest, in the scheme of things. But they didn't want to. Fair dues. People are stupid. Plenty of stupid people around now. You know what I mean? So yeah, that some of the saints were captured and were tried to be disposed of and put to death. And many of them couldn't be hurt or burned, or like they were unkillable in many ways. And it seemed to be a pattern, that they had to be beheaded in order to put them to death. Now, a very similar tale. There's a film coming out soon, or a new series, with Henry Cavill in there. A very, very old film, to be honest, called Highlander. Film from back in the day, sort of Scottish, in Scotland film. Highlander, again, everybody's probably heard of Highlander. It wasn't that big, I don't think. It wasn't like a blockbuster. But Henry Cavill's remaking it now, anyway. And they kind of was like special people, the Highlanders, and they had to be beheaded. There can be only one. And you had to behead them to kill them, is kind of the crack of Highlander. Well, there's a very, very similar crack here. With the saints. The saints had to be beheaded in order to be killed, and they couldn't be burned and all sorts. And I've got another video. I'll mention it on the end here. I won't. It's over an hour and a half long. I think 2 hours long. So I can't play any of these really. They're too long. You know what I mean. So you're gonna have to come and watch them on the channels. So the Dutch Peasant Productions here. Yeah, the saints some were put to death. It was in the papers in 1845, and they were captured. And yeah, it wasn't like this millennium reign of Christ. It didn't seem to be this perfect world. Still, there was still people who were not for the game here. You know what I mean? And again, this is kind of how we've got to where we are today, because people are Satanists and went on the other team, despite the other team losing in the end up. These people went on the other team. It's madness in many ways. Like, absolute madness here. But this is the tale. You know what I mean? This is the tale. So, This video on Dutch peasant productions. Again, the Holy Reign of the Saints was eliminated. It was in the news in 1845. So that's one video. I'll just mention another video. Hold on. So there was this as well. I've been watching J Dreamer Z is the name of the channel. 100,000 subscribers. Medieval Supernaturals is the name of the video. Absolutely fascinating, to be honest. It's on for an hour and 20 minutes. So we're about 15 minutes in here at the moment. We'll just play a bit here and see what's being said.
Smell about them, sort of like how you can smell the storm that's on the way. You know what I mean? Immediate awareness of distant events. So they had remote perception. This is actually an example of these snakes that were turned into rocks. We'll get into that. Exorcism. So they could expel demons as well. They had power over energetic forces, different types of energetic forces. Now, let's go ahead and get into some examples of these medieval superheroes. I mean, not in every case were they heroic. Not in every case were they just, using their powers, I'm sure, to help people. But these were the notable ones. These were people who did. All right. And this all stems from the cycle of cataclysms that we go through, like I talked about, and the earth changes that we go through. This was an entirely different time. This was not just a time of mud and muck and unintellectuals, walking around and people being weird and, people having no intelligence whatsoever. That's all the propaganda story. Now,
Yeah, honestly, the tales of the old world here. There's many tales, to be honest. They've just been brushed under the rug, like they really have, and they're in different languages, and they haven't been brought forth. But there's plenty of tales in the hagiographies, I think they're called. I mean, people just don't believe them to be true and believe them to be like fantastical. But there's that many of them, and they all fit into this situation. To be honest, so you got to sit where you want with this. Really, it's like anything. You're allowed to believe what you want. I suppose that's the game here. Believe what you want, but in the end, of believing what you want might not be the right way. You know what I mean? It's kind of the crack. So yeah, this honestly, it's some of the tales, absolutely amazing. To be honest, absolutely amazing. And a world that we don't know, we really do not know. That this we've been lied to about history so much. Um, Before the 1500s, it was a completely different world. It really was. So I'll play a bit more. Hold on.
now we're going to start off with, let's see, Saint Denis, 3rd century France. The story is after being beheaded in Montmartre in Paris, Saint Denis supposedly picked up his own head after it was cut off. Went over and picked up his own head. He walked several miles while preaching a sermon. This made him a martyr saint in France, and he's often depicted carrying around his own head. He's by far not even close to the only story, and the only example of someone who was decapitated, had their own head severed and cut off. And in some instances, they just stuck it right back on, and it grew right back. Like I said, cellular regeneration. In other instances, their head was tossed about somewhere, and they were yelling for help, and people found their head, which was yelling and talking. Saint Edmund, 9th century England. The story is, after King Edmund was beheaded by Viking invaders, his followers reportedly found his head crying out, "Here, here, here," from the forest, allowing them to recover it. Talking head.
So, as you heard there, it's like madness, fucking beheaded, your head is still alive, your head can talk. I mean, I mentioned there that some of them you had to be beheaded to kill them. Some of them, or whether it was because it was earlier on in the Millennium Reign, they couldn't be killed, but later on in the Millennium Reign, they seemed to be beheading them to get rid of them. So it's madness, honestly. I mean, I'm the first one to say it's all madness in terms of where we are, where we were brought up, what we know, what we've learned. The world we know is a very different world. Again, it's all been gotten rid of and covered up, and the reason for it is because in order to play the game we're playing now, it all has to go. It has to go because the minute we see anything like this in our world, then we're believers. You know what I mean? We're going to be believers because there's proof everywhere we look that this is true. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we live in a world now where there is no proof anywhere we look that anywhere this is true. But this is how Satan's playing the game. You've got to kind of wrap your head around that there is this entity named Satan, the devil, Lucifer, and he's playing a game here. And in order to win the game in a way, the only way he can, he had to cover all this up because he knows fine well the minute you realise that all this shit happened, that you're going to be a believer. So he's already lost you. So he's got rid of it all and he's covered it all up, and the tales are out there. I mean, we've got the buildings that these people helped build that we couldn't build. We still couldn't build today with the acoustics, etc. The geometry. We maybe could just build them today, but maybe not, to be honest. The lost knowledge, as we've seen in videos I've put forward previously there, those people that tried to build the medieval castle and still haven't finished. And it looked nothing like any of these cathedrals, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's, again, I'm the first to say, you're dealing with some crazy stuff here, and yeah, I know this. Trust me, I know this, and to try and get to a point that you can wrap your head round and believe this. Well, it's a bit of a long road. It's a journey of knowledge here, and you've got to. A lot of people are atheists. You've got to pass through the fact that the Bible's real yet. You know what I mean? Never mind getting into what actually happened in the Bible. And if you know about sort of the Nephilim and the Watchers, etc., then this whole saint situation here in the latter days isn't so fantastical either because of everything that's gone before as well. This is what I mean. You've got to learn the whole tale for it to really start making sense, and you kind of be able to believe it because far more fantastical things happened at the start. You know what I mean? So again, no one. It's very hard to convince anybody of anything. You've got to get to a point where you believe it for yourself. At least I've found. All we can do is sort of pass on the information and point you in the right direction. And again, hopefully you can get to a point where you can wrap your head around some of this. But I very much understand how, from a base level of nothing and no information, you'll watch any of this and you just think it's madness. You know what I mean? It's nonsense. It's madness. And but even you would think that of the Nephilim and the Watchers, etc. as well. You know what I mean? So this is why all this is being covered up. And in today's world, we have none of this, because if we did, well, you would believe. So this is how we play this game. Is kind of what's happening. So I'll play a little bit more, but again, some fascinating stories, like absolutely fascinating. People put them down to like folklore and all this sort of thing, but it really isn't. Before the 1500s, this world was a very, very different place. It really, really was. I mean, over the course of the next weeks and months, I'll bring forth more things that obviously put the picture together better as well. But I have mentioned quite a few of these channels you need to come and watch as well, and get a grasp of what the hell's going on here.
Saint Aphrodisias. This is a legend from France. The story is a decapitated bishop who carried his head to the church where he finished the church, where he was to be buried. Where he wished to be buried. So he wanted to be buried. This is him right here. He wanted to be buried at this particular church. After he was decapitated, he walked about with his own head, went to the church where he wanted to be buried, and stayed there, basically. Similar story to St. Denis. Celtic and Norse lore. In Irish mythology, the head of the warrior Conall Cernach was said to speak after death. This also reminds me of Norse mythology and a lot of the legends. I mean, this is actual history, but going back into like just pure myth in Norse mythology, there was a very wise god that lived within Yggdrasil, and his head was cut off, and people took it with them, and asked him for advice and stuff. Anyways, this is all connected.
Right, so I'm going to leave it there, to be honest, because the video's long enough. You need to come and watch all these videos, to be honest. I mean, I'll put another thing out there as well, just before I end. More madness, in many ways, for many people. Well, another thing you need to try and wrap your head around in many ways. So, everybody, one of the most famous saints was Saint Christopher, the saint of travel, so to speak. And if you wanted to look into it, Saint Christopher was not a man as such. He was a giant and dog-headed saint. The real Saint Christopher. He was not a human being, as we know. He was a giant, dog-headed saint. And there was dog-headed people. There was people with the. I mean, the world was madness, mate. Honestly, like if we took the majority of people back to that world now, nobody would know what was going on. They wouldn't recognize the place. They would probably go insane with some of the things that they would see in this old world. They really would. Honestly, wrapping your head around this world before the 1500s. It takes some doing, to be honest. It absolutely takes some doing. Again, I'll say it again. Saint Christopher was a giant, dog-headed saint. Type that in the bar up here. But feel free. Saint Christopher, the dog-headed saint, and see what you get. So, yeah, the world, honestly, that the world that we left behind was mental, like absolutely mental. I'm the first to say it. I'll be honest, but it doesn't mean it wasn't true, and it's all been covered up for Satan's little season. For me, again, the beauty of all this is time will tell. We will get the answer to this very, very soon. I mean, we're not talking days and weeks here. We're talking a couple of years. You know what I mean? But soon in the biblical timeline, it's seconds in the biblical timeline, so to speak. We'll leave it there anyway. Peace.